I'm Vince Sims, and we are back with 5 Talk Street. You know, the YMCA of Metropolitan Dallas has been committed to serving all members of the community for many years. Recently, the Y created an executive leadership position to advance their efforts to achieve race and gender equity within the Y and in the greater Dallas community. Here to tell us more is the person who now fills that role. Rodriga Ross is with us, and she is the Vice President of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion for the YMCA of Metropolitan Dallas. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
All right, let's first of all talk about what is this role and what will you be doing in it?
So amazing opportunity to kind of be the guide star and the gatekeeper for this organization in the diversity, equity, and inclusion space, and kind of help us tie together all of our strategies and our initiatives and the things that we do internally, but also the things that we do externally that are community facing to forward being anti-racist and multicultural, right? And so I have the amazing opportunity to lead all kinds of strategies to kind of assess and evaluate some of our current practices and policies, to look at things from a systems level, and to also offer up some of those real-time, very needed, necessary services throughout our communities that stand in the gap for folks who, don't have access sometimes.
So why did the Y decide to focus its efforts on the diversity and inclusion?
Yeah, so, a critical part of our mission is for all. The last 2 words of our mission is for all. And so, this last year and even the years before that, we really had to take a critical eye and say, are we for all the time? And in looking at that, we realized that the YMCA could do more, right? We have to demand a reality where race does not dictate health, longevity, safety, or well-being, or any other of those indicators, gender or socioeconomic status or education. And so by being specific and intentional about advancing diversity, equity, and inclusion strategies, we know that we're making ourselves and our communities better. It's been a goal of our CEO, Kurt Hazelbaker, and for the last 3 years, he's been very intentional about making sure that we're focusing on these efforts.
As you focus on those efforts, and you mentioned the goals that were already set, but obviously there are some goals for the diversity and equity and inclusion here. Talk to us a little bit about the goals you've set to reach this.
Yeah, so we have a number of them, and aggressive, which is good, right? One of them is that we really want to get people to understand this idea of conscious and unconscious bias, right? And how do we undo racism by helping people understand what those biases are? So really engaging in internal trainings and offering some external opportunities for our community as well to understand this. We want to prioritize the eradication of racism in our communities. We want to make sure that we have diverse candidate pools when we're doing any types of hiring. The YMCA of Metropolitan Dallas employs almost 3,000 individuals, and we want to make sure that we're getting the right people that reflect the demographics of our communities. We want to establish, a great MWBE program where minority vendors have an amazing opportunity to engage with the YMCA. We want to facilitate ongoing conversations with all of our volunteers, boards, and staff, and communities as a whole, as it relates to diversity, equity, and inclusion matters. And we want to absolutely specifically address health disparities that are prevalent in Black and Brown communities.
All right, Rodriga, now that seems like a heavy load right there. You ready for that? Take that all on?
I better get ready, right? Yeah, 'cause we're here, and it's really exciting and really challenging work, but I'm having a great time.
Awesome. And all of that you listed out, obviously that is a big load and a lot to do, but you're not a newbie to this game. So explain to us a little bit about your background and why this makes you perfect to lead in this role.
Yeah, I like to tell people I started really, really young, but I've been in this space for over 22 years, and I really dedicated my work to being in under-resourced communities and trying to help walk alongside folks and help them realize what they need in order to thrive. And so I focused on collaborating with government entities and public and private nonprofit agencies, corporate partners nationwide to address issues such as youth development and some of the program deficiencies that don't help them thrive, or improving family stability, or, talking about housing and food insecurity, and just generally dismantling inequitable systems. And so, I've had the opportunity to do this for the YMCA in Dallas. I also have done this for the YMCA in Massachusetts. And so, I really take pride in having this, kind of global perspective that I can implement locally to really be able to lead this work and see some change come about.
And, I know that the Y services everybody, men, women, it doesn't matter about age, income, or backgrounds, but the pandemic has affected some of everybody across all demographics. And what has the Y been doing some efforts to help out in that regard?
Yeah, I am so proud of the pivot, right? And it really wasn't anything foreign for our organization to do. It was just a part of what's in our DNA, to stand in and be who communities need us to be whenever they need us to be that. And so during the pandemic, the YMCA physical locations had to close like many other businesses. But that didn't mean we just kind of locked the doors and stopped interfacing with our communities. We quickly realized the challenges that were out there, and we stepped in and we used our power of convening to kind of bring people together and get folks the things that they needed when they needed. And we realized that this coordinated effort kind of morphed into what we're calling our Catalyst Initiative. So our Catalyst Initiative just allows us to be intentional about doing just that, convening and facilitating all of our partners to deliver essential services to communities. So it looks like feeding sites that serve breakfast, lunch, and dinner distributions to kids. It looks like food distribution sites where families can get groceries and produce. It looks like baby depots where, the smallest of us can get diapers and baby food, and families can get personal hygiene items. It looks like, having access sites for people who need water or electricity or Wi-Fi usage. We've given out computers to help, students stay abreast of their work during challenging times when they couldn't physically be in their schools. We've partnered with health and hospital systems to offer pop-up COVID testing sites or information sites where people could get the information that they needed. We've offered blood drive locations. There was a critical need for blood during this pandemic, and we opened up our branches and our parking lots and all of our other properties to be able to host those things. And we also made sure that we created these learning loss prevention centers and these essential childcare centers to make sure that essential workers had the opportunity to leave their children somewhere that was safe, that they could continue their learning, so that they could go back doing the incredibly important work that we need during this pandemic. And,
yes, ma'am.
And it's amazing. To date, we've given away almost 218,000 pounds of produce and groceries to families. We've interfaced and serviced almost 76,000 families and given them meals. We've hosted enough blood drives to collect 960 units of blood. We've given away 500 laptops and personal computers.
Rodriga, it's obviously a great amount of stuff that you guys have truly done there. I do appreciate it, and thank you so much. For our time, we're going to have to go, but thank you so much for joining us, and keep up the great work that you're doing there. And
thank you so much.
You are welcome. We want to let our viewers know, for more information, they can visit the ymcadallas.org/diversity and inclusion.